Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. Guys, I say this because you can be unstoppable too. All you have to do is go get the Rocket Fuel book, Convert Setbacks, Become Unstoppable, with a foreword written by none other than Grant Cardone himself, who talks about the Rocket Fuel law and how it's impacted his life and business. That's available at mikecroc.com/book. Today, I have a friend of mine I met on Clubhouse. He is a phenomenal guy from what I saw, and I want to learn more about him. That's why I brought him on, and I want to introduce him to you guys. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you for supporting and coming here today. And let me introduce you today to Pete DeBest. Pete DeBest is the co-founder and operating manager of Next Level Property Investments, a California-based real estate investment company that was created to acquire, rehab, and sell residential properties across the United States. Pete's business partner, you may have heard, Tarek Musa, is the co-star of HGTV's hit TV show Flip or Flop, which is the #1 rated home flipping show on television. They co-founded the company Tarek Buys Houses back in 2017, and I can't wait to hear the story about how you guys got together, how you got into real estate in the first place. But let's just welcome you first, Pete. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike.
Hey, so we start the show. I want to get into stuff. I have a lot of questions and all that, but I have to always stop here because we have a tradition of asking the question, what are you made of? So let's do that first. What are you made of, Pete?
Man, that is a very good question. And I don't want to be cheesy on this, but I think I'm made of like grit. I mean, I'm made of a lot of just experiences in life that have really got me where I'm at right now. I mean, it hasn't been easy. It's been a tough, tough road. And I think that it's just like that inner desire to want more and never be happy. I mean, you want to be happy in life, but you never want to be necessarily happy where you are at the moment. You always want to strive for being better at just about everything that you do. So I like to I mean, it's probably called it a lot of things, but I think that grit or maybe grind, hustle, and execution that I have right behind me, these are all a part of who I am and what I try to put on or like inspire onto other people. That's a big part of who I am.
I love it.
So that thing, that's just that grit that keeps me going, that gets me up in the morning, that gets me just to realize that like I got to keep moving because objects at rest tend to stay at rest and objects in motion tend to stay in motion. So I want to be an object that's always in motion. That's who I am.
My kind of guy, man. I'm the type of guy that goes to these all-inclusive resorts with the family, and they want to sit by the pool, and I'm like, dude, what are we gonna do? We can't sit here. Let's go. I got to do something. I got to create, build.
So right on. So you are definitely an object of motion by that definition.
Yeah, man. And I'm complacency and being comfortable is my kryptonite. And yeah, you can relate to that. So
For sure.
So you said something about not being, it's more about not being satisfied with where you are and understanding that we have potential in us that we don't know the limit to. Right. So if you stop, you got to be happy on the journey. Right. And I know some days we're not happy because of the shit that goes down, but at the end of the day, it's like, we're really kind of exploring our potential limits, if there is any, right?
Like just even when Tarek formed the company Next Level Property Investments, that's why we came up with that name. We always wanted to be at the next level. We were at a certain level. We wanted to be at the next level. So that was the company we started in 2010. So with that thought in mind, I mean, I've known Tarek back from 2003, 2004. Okay. But it wasn't until we saw this opportunity in real estate that we teamed up and started this company to buy properties because we thought, wow, this is such an amazing time. You know, most people buy things when they're on sale, but then when it comes to certain things, people buy them when they're high. So we said, why don't we buy real estate when it's at like 10-year lows? Because we believed in the long run. So that was kind of like, that's something that we've always believed in, is like just looking for opportunity. So but the term next level in that company was always setting the bar higher and not ever thinking in the past, just moving forward onto whatever is possible in the future. So that's a little about why we did that.
So what did you do? Well, actually, you know what? Let's go back. You can go anywhere to where you were in diapers on up to now, present day. I want to know how did you grow up and what went into making Pete?
Sure. Yeah. I'm from Anaheim, California. My parents were divorced when I was 4. And my dad he was born in Indonesia, but he's Dutch Indonesian. That's where I get the last name DeBest, which I think is a great name. So does my wife. But I grew up and we with my dad, my parents getting divorced. We didn't have much money. My dad barely paid, he barely paid any child support. I've been working since I was 12 years old. I mean, I had a paper route. I had to basically make money so we can eat. I used to contribute to the household as far as bringing in, I remember vividly, we didn't even have milk for cereal. I was eating cereal with water or dry cereal. I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, I was almost it seemed like we were at the point where we were literally having food delivered, you know, where people give you food, and it was always just the nasty stuff, like beets or something, canned beets, something odd, but it wasn't easy. It was tough. And one of the things I did was, my dad, he was a janitor. So I used to, not often, but at times I would help when he was, you know, out of town or went on vacation, clean these buildings, at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It was pretty brutal, but I just did about anything that I could, because I didn't have, like, from where I came from, I just needed to make some money. So I've always, since I was 12, I've been working.
Now, do you remember a moment in your life where you were like, dude, I don't want to live like this?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Imagine cleaning a toilet at a hospital at 4 in the morning, and you're wiping the crap, literally the crap on the wall. You're trying to figure out how this is on the wall in the first place, like projectile wise. And you're just thinking in my mind over and over again, I thought, you know, there are haves and there are have-nots. I literally would think that for hours upon end. There are haves and there are have-nots. There are haves and there are have-nots. And I felt like at the time I was a have-not, man. I was sitting here cleaning the crap, you know, off the wall. And I was like, I'm definitely a have-not. What do I have to do? How much crap do I have to clean up to get to that some other place in life? And so that's that. Anytime I get stuck, that's something that I can always fall back to. Just that thought. I mean, it's a pretty visual thought, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
You know?
I visualized it very well. No, and I've been there before. My family was in the masonry business. It's not as disgusting, but and my dad did very well, but my grandfathers, they always labored. And I mixed mud for, you know, when I was 12 and on up. And I was like, screw this, man, because my back would hurt at a young age. And I'm like, I got to figure out a better way. So I can relate to that. Now, did you get into real estate or the mortgage business first?
I got into mortgage right out of college. I went to Cal Poly Pomona. I graduated with a finance, real estate, and law degree. As a matter of fact, I didn't start Cal Poly as that. I started as a computer science major because I did pretty well in high school and junior high and whatnot. And I took calculus in high school, and I thought it'd be kind of wouldn't be that difficult. So I get into college. I was living in the dorms at the time. Probably wasn't studying as much, did not do well in calculus. As a matter of fact, I literally failed that course because I think I went to four classes and took the final and basically was completely unprepared, thinking that I could just remember what I knew in high school. So then I literally almost got kicked out of Cal Poly. I was on, like, I met with the chair. I said, listen, I got to switch majors. And I knew I wanted to go in something that I can make money in, stocks or real estate. So I said, okay, let's do that. They had a major called finance, real estate, and law. And I'm like, this is a no brainer. So I went in there, met with the chair, I switched my major. The next quarter, I got a 4.0. So I found focus. It's amazing what you can do when you find focus, man. It's like, I always tell people, like, the sun shines on the earth every day, but if you take a magnifying glass, you could take the focus of the sun and create a fire, right? And so for me, I became hyper-focused after that. I got a 4.0, highest graded in 2 of my classes, went from like the dean's list to getting kicked off to the dean's list to having the highest grades. So I mean, it was basically from just 0 to hero right away. It's kind of crazy. And it was all because I had focus in what I was doing. Before I was, like, I was just like literally, if you got in a car and you didn't know where you're going, and I was just driving in a circle. And then I was like, okay, I want to get here. So I had a plan and I had the focus to do it. And it literally turned my life. But I knew that I loved real estate and I knew that I loved stocks. Like I said, anything that involved money, just because, like I said, I was a have-not, I had nothing. Yeah. And I knew this could get me to where I wanted to go. So when I graduated, it's kind of a funny story. I met the owner of a mortgage company, and he made an impact on me. And I wasn't working in mortgage at the time. I was working for B of A. And my girlfriend at the time, wife now, she said, hey, listen, there's this like opportunity to be a model for this t-shirt company, which has nothing to do with mortgage, but she's like, they need a guy to go in there. So I literally said, okay, I'll go check it out. So when I went there, I met the owner of this company. I said, well, is this what you do? He goes, no, I am a mortgage company. I'm just doing this as a side hustle. And I said, cool. So he ended up hiring me as a model for the t-shirt company, which was kind of cool because we both got hired. But then he said, come check out the mortgage company. So when I saw what they were doing and I saw the potential, and he told me like the earning opportunity, I like immediately quit B of A and went to work there. But it was funny because, so check this out. I go to college to get an education and a job, yep, which has a salary, right? Yep. Which wasn't a very good salary at Bank of America, as you can imagine, but it was a salary. Do you know what my salary was at the mortgage company?
Your salary?
Yeah.
Minimum wage, maybe?
Zero.
Well, now we got to do minimum wage. So.
It was $0, right? It was 100% commission. So my family basically laughed at me. They said, you went to school for 4 years, got a degree, got a job, and your job pays you $0 and does not require a degree. But it was something that, like, they all laughed at me when I did it. And it was tough, man. I don't know. You probably know some people in that business. It's I think you're in the business.
I saw that.
And it's one of those things where you got to bust your ass. I mean, I'm talking 12-hour days. I didn't take days off. I didn't know what lunch was. I would work through lunch. I would sleep at the office. For the first 3 years, it's the hardest thing you can do. I was 23. I was young. I didn't have this lovely gray hair that I have now. This is what I got from, I don't know, maybe kids or lending or being Tarek's business partner. I don't know, all the above.
I have no hair left, so.
Okay, well, so I'll take this now. No, you look good though, man. You look good. So check it out. So as you know, you got to just bust your ass. You got to make connections. You got 2 clients. You got clients, your actual borrowers. You got agents. And I loved it, man. It wasn't even work. It was like, it was fun. So like every day was like going to fun, like you do what you like and you do what you love. You never work a day of your life.
Yeah.
I work with my best friends. It was a great journey.
Same thing,
a great
man.
journey. Yeah. I had my friends from high school. I brought them in.
Yep.
They're like super awesome. And they do very, very well. They're still in the industry right now. And so, but I started 3-4 years in, I said, okay, I can make money in mortgage, but I can create wealth by buying real estate. And that's what I wanted to do anyway. So in 1999, I told myself I'm going to buy a house. So 1999, 4 years in the business, 26 years old. This is loose. It's right around that time. I bought my first property. And then I said, I'm going to buy at least 3 houses per year. This is way back in 1999, 2000, when prices were amazing. So I bought, like a 4-plex for 300,000. I bought a house. The first house, by the way, I still own. I bought it for 95,000 in Chino, California. And then I started buying 3. And then around 2003, I got the hell out of California as far as buying. I said, you know what? California prices are just way too high. Doesn't make sense. I can't buy these properties. I can't rent them. It's not economical. I started buying in Texas, like Austin area, which Austin at the time was really low. So I was always a real estate investor. I was always buying things. And so how I connected with Tarek is that in that I own a mortgage company, Tarek was a realtor. Yep. So I met him when he had just, like, shortly after he got his license. He teamed up with a real estate company that I did a lot of business with. I mean, we were doing probably close to 100 transactions a month. So Tarek comes in. This is all around the same time I bought this big 36,000 square foot building. I mean, that was an amazing story in itself. But I bought this big ass office building. We had everybody in there. It was a blast. But I meet Tarek slightly before that. But then we started doing some business. And like, we always had like good business. Like Tarek is definitely like way above his time and his age. Even when he was young, he's always thinking bigger. He's always thinking about ideas and systems that he can like make things work better, or just actually, I think the main thing is just like figuring out how to find more business, really. Right. So he was always a guy that would hit the phones. He was, because as a younger agent, it's not, you don't like have a big sphere of influence, or you don't have a geographical farm. So you got to hustle for every
out
deal,
of obscurity, right?
So he's hitting the phone for like 8 hours a day, or at least probably more, just on those auto dialers, just trying to pick up, what do you call it? Expires and whatnot. So along the time, I was doing a lot of business with Tarek, just as a realtor and a loan officer relationship, as you're familiar with. And so then the market crashed, and thankfully, like I was very, very prudent. I wasn't over leveraged. I didn't buy all the fancy cars. I did have some real estate, but they were cash flowing. And then I had, at the time, that building that I had bought in 2004, I sold it for a pretty sizable gain. So I had quite a few millions, like millions of dollars saved up, which was very, very important, because you kind of needed that when the market crashed. So Tarek and I remained friends for this period, even though like his business slowed down, but we were always hanging out and whatnot. And then he said, I got the idea and he got the idea about flipping. And it's like, hey, rather than doing this separately, let's like team up. We're friends. We trust each other. Let's just start doing this. And so he had been working with some investors that he would go to auctions and try to find properties. And he was getting kind of frustrated because they weren't buying anything. He'd find all these awesome deals, and their buy box was ridiculous. They were looking for things that like just were not realistic. He's like, hey, why don't I find some of these deals? And he asked me to come up with the cash. And he goes, you come up with the cash, I'll find the deals, and let's do it. And that's kind of how it started, 2010. No TV show, nothing. It was just like, hey, let's go out there, let's hustle. He was putting in sweat equity, I was putting up the capital, and that's how we rolled. So then, like, and it's fortunate too, like this first property, one of the first properties we did at an auction, he said, let's bring like 100,000. And I'm like, and that should have done it for the property, but I brought an extra 20,000 just in case. Like, and it, believe it or not, like we needed it like by literally like a penny. Cause if you know anything about the auctions, it's like, they'll do like, 100,000 penny over. So then another guy goes 1,000 and 101,000 penny over. And you do that, and literally when he got in this like battle with this other, everybody else kind of backed off at this auction. You got to imagine these things are outdoors, it's windy, there's all these investors, they got $10 million in their pocket, but he's locked horns with another investor. They're fighting is classic. But I'll never forget, the guy turned his back when he said a penny over, and I knew we got it. And that was a funny story itself, because that was like the first one we got. And this is, again, this is before Flip or Flop, but ironically, the whole process, as once we bought it, was filmed by a friend. And so that's when he got the idea. He's like, "Hey, we filmed this. Let's." He says like, I'm going to pitch this to a network.
Who did? Tarek did?
Or yeah, Tarek did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Tarek. No, Tarek was. It's a long story, and we don't have time for it in this call. But he had this crazy idea, right? You're crazy until it works, then you're a genius. But
exactly.
So literally, so he pitches this show. Long story short, and it was never going to be anything, but he never gave up. And then eventually it became, and they gave it the opportunity. And then many times along that journey, it almost didn't happen because of one small reason or another. And we never even thought anything was going to come out of it. And then now it's the number one. Yeah, currently airing the number one show about flipping TV or flipping homes. And then he's got another show, Flipping 101, which is about helping investors flip properties. And he has a coaching company, and he has all these different things.
So while you guys were waiting for the show to grab, you were just business as usual. We had obviously we had to scale up. We didn't jump right into it. I mean, I'm probably more conservative of the two. Like, he's more running into the burning house. I'm like checking it out. I'm like, is this safe? What's going on? Yeah. But so we did take maybe a year or two to scale up. And then I think 13, 14 was like really when we were in our full stride, when we were like really picking up more and more houses. And then so in 17, that's like 16, 17 is when he went through the divorce. He went through a pretty tough divorce. And prior to that, we'd always done business as Next Level Property Investments. And it was in 17 that we started the company Tarek Buys Houses, which is what I got here. And that was more of like, we really had a brand at that point, and we wanted to use something to differentiate ourselves. I mean, there's a lot of iBuyers out there. There's a lot of competition. You got Zillow out there buying properties. Everybody's buying properties. So we wanted to have something that was maybe a little bit recognizable, because I think that's important in what we do, and we wanted to separate it. So we have Tarek Buys Houses, which now we're growing a team. We've literally been hiring gangbusters recently. We're just bringing on 7 new people, like literally like in the next 20, 30 days. We do own an office now. We bought another building in Anaheim. So it's where we operate out of. It's where I'm at right now. This is where we're at. So it's kind of located to our market. Our market is in, Southern California, predominantly Orange County, LA, Riverside, and San Bernardino, which literally where we're at, it's like perfect, because we're like in the center of all those. So we can literally branch out. It's like perfect situation. And the market, like, it's so funny when you talk about real estate markets, you usually look at like days on market in terms of like months. Like, and it's never been to the point like that I've seen, except for maybe in 05, where it's literally, it seems like it's minutes on market. I mean, it is around Maryland too.
If you can get deals right now and provide value, and sometimes you don't even need comps anymore. I mean, there's properties that'll sell, they might sell 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 over the neighbor, and there's no justification, but it's just, if you do it right, if you have the right, finish work. So it's so important now. And that goes, obviously it's market specific. Obviously most investors like like us, we don't want to go too out of the norm, because then you don't want to be that white elephant. You don't want to have something that you can't sell because it's overdone. But it's one of those crazy things where in some markets, beach communities, like Newport or LA, a lot of parts of LA,
when somebody wants something, they want it. I mean,
they'll pay for it. It doesn't matter that like the price. Actually, sometimes the price is actually to your favor. But we're never, like, seriously, just to keep it real, we're not about like doing the $5-10 million flips. We're just like turning the sub $1 million properties. I mean, believe it or not, in our market, the average house is probably 750,000, which might be crazy for somebody that's in like Kansas or something, or wherever. I mean, it's like totally unheard of. So they'd say, well, what's going on there? Why is that? But that's just normal for us. So we look at the spreads, and when we were buying houses in 2010, we were paying 250. Now we're paying like 650. So we just have to be a little bit more cautious. And that's why we've been doing a lot more networking with other investors around the country. We're doing a lot more wholesaling deals. We're picking up deals like everywhere. I can pick up a deal in Florida. I can find a buyer for that property in like a day or two. I have a full disposition team. I have an acquisition team. So, Tarek and I are really working on just building this team and building the company up to where we can do some good numbers. And I'm talking like, we want to be a company that's doing 100 a month. and we were doing a lot less in the past, but we've really like focused in on what our vision is. And our vision is all about growth and networking.
So what's that? Like, has the TV show gave you some advantage when you're bidding on a house now? Do you see?
Yeah, I would like to think so. I mean, listen, man, people go to our website and we don't even advertise for it. They just come and they say, hey, I want to sell my house to Tarek, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I will say we probably got more of it when Tarek and Christina were married. We had a nice website called tarekandchristina.com. So it was very, very easy to find. It was very organically easy to find, if you know anything about Google search, PPC and all that fun stuff. And now we're building the brand based on, obviously, people Google Tarek a lot. So organically, I think our company shows up more because it's a very competitive space. I mean, companies are spending millions of dollars a month, right? For these, I mean, it's very, very competitive. So we have in-house PPC, in-house marketing. We're doing some cool things, I think, with social media coming up. We basically try everything. Anything that we think could work, we'll implement to the extent, and we don't like to quit, because quitting means fail. Like, we believe that you don't ever fail in something unless you quit. So we'll do something. If it doesn't quite work, we'll do something else. If it doesn't quite, we'll keep doing it, but we never look at our failures. Like, we just look at it as a learning experience. Like, okay, we learned that one way not to do this. Let's do this thing. And we spend a lot. I mean, sometimes we'll throw out $100,000, $150,000 on something and it doesn't work. And that sucks. That does suck, but you gotta have the guts to throw it out there, right?
Well, I think it's really just understanding that, one, it's just energy. Money is just energy. It's used for that, and you have confidence to go get more. Like,
we believe in our ability to generate revenue off what we spend in some form, and that's what helps. So we've been doing this so long. We know, okay, hypothetically, if we do this, what is our return going to be? And obviously the benchmark is, obviously, are we going to get our money back? What's our multiplier on our ad spend or on our marketing channel or whatnot? Some channels have really, really good returns. I don't necessarily want to say I'm here because
that's fine.
That's like the secret sauce, for whatever the secret sauce is for wherever the hell it is. But we have certain things that work very, very well. We have certain things that we have that work because of the brand. And we have like 7 different channels that we get business from, and we're trying to hone them in and make them better and more efficient. And, like they say, it's like return on ad spend, right? So that's like the big thing that we're always looking at, like that acronym.
Well, Pete, when you guys' relationship over the years, when one of you go through a tough time, like Tarek did with personally, what was that like for the two of your relationship, and how did you view it, and making sure that you were there for him to lift him up or pull some extra weight or whatever while he might be dealing with something?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, he went through a bunch of things. I mean, listen, man, like even before the divorce,
health.
I mean, he had thyroid cancer, which a viewer saw. I mean, they wrote in, they said, hey, this guy, you got to check this guy out. And he didn't even know. He had talked to his doctors about it, and they're like, don't worry about it. And then he got checked, and he in fact had thyroid cancer. And then he found out he had testicular cancer. And then that was a big one. And then we were playing golf, and he was shooting one of the best rounds he's ever shot. So I didn't want to quit, but his back started hurting a little bit. I'm like, dude, just chill. And the next thing you know, he pulled a Tiger Woods, took a shot, fell literally. I just watched this guy he hit a shot, fell over in pain, and he just couldn't move. And so then he was out for surgery. He had to have surgery, back surgery. He couldn't do anything. I mean, literally, it was the point he was at the hospital. I'll never forget. He had it was so bad. He had to literally have somebody just about wipe his butt. And it was crazy. That's how bad it was. Like, he was completely down and out. And through all these things, like, it's just made him stronger. Like, so, and I've always been there. I'm always in the office. I'm here, like the first one here, the last one to leave a lot. That's just the way I roll. I mean, I'm super committed and motivated. I mean, I look forward to getting up every day. I mean, I'm here today by 7:30, but I mean, because I got a few things I do in the morning, but like, it's all part of like a master plan. And it's exciting what we're just like beginning, man. This is like, we have 10 years, but this is like the very beginning of what we're going to be doing. Like, there's so much more left. And he's a bit younger. I'm 48, he's 39. And other than in certain sports, I mean, it's hard to say, but it's like, as far as we're extremely competitive, but we always we get each other. Like, I get a fundamental, I get him to the core. I mean, down and down, like, it's because it's hard to have partnerships. Anybody that does it, I always say it's the hardest ship to sail.
Yeah.
And if anybody that's had a partner would know this, but we've been through 10 years, ups and downs, and we're stronger than ever.
What's that? Have you guys banged heads before?
We do, but not, I mean, the crazy thing is like, I've seen Tarek bang heads with people where they don't get up, and then we'll slightly just do this, but never to the point, like, we're too reasonable.
Yeah.
Like he's a very reasonable person down and down. He's an emotional person probably, and so am I. But come to, like, when we really think about it, then we stop and say, you know what, like, we look at each other's side, and it's never like more than a day or two. Like seriously, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like the weirdest thing. Like, I don't think that we've ever been like angry for more than a day. And then he's been angry, and vice versa. But we get over it and get past it.
So in our business, I have 3 of my best friends I grew up with since I was 10, and my little brother worked with us as our leadership team. And we have a team of 30 people. But there's times it's tough when especially when you know each other for such a long time, to hold each other accountable and have the tough conversations. And I felt like the hardest thing for me to get over was these guys I grew up with. We're all about the same age. But I just said to myself, I'm going to make sure that I'm, work harder, smarter, better leader than any of them at all times. Right.
Yes.
And I told them that. I said, I'm going to outwork you guys, and I'm going to make sure I develop myself into a better leader than any of you guys. So I challenge you to keep up with me. Now, that gave me permission, to me, as far as I was concerned, to hold them accountable, bust their ass when I saw them slacking. And so from that point on, I was never afraid. Sometimes it's like, I just call them out. There's no emotion. It's like, hey, dude, this is what's going on. I need you here. Like, you're not doing it. You're getting too comfortable. And
that is a key. Accountability is a huge key. And it's funny because the role is like, when we first started, and Tarek was, he was all about hands-on. He's like, I want to buy it. He's like, let's buy a company truck. Let's go here. Let's find deals and whatnot. Ironically, now he's become the master. Like, he delegates everything. I mean, he literally has a driver. He has a scheduler. He has all these different things. And I've actually, I was the teacher at one point. Now he's the teacher. It's like, I'm learning from him on some of this stuff on the delegation, because I find myself too much in the weeds. Like, I'm too much caught in the weeds. I need to get out of the weeds so I can look above and see what's going on. And like, he can't be in the weeds. He's doing too many things. He's like, he can't be in the office because he's filming different shows and whatnot. So from that, I think that's a good yin and yang, because I'm more the guy that's in the office like a lot, and I'm trying to look at things from like 30,000 feet above, going, okay, how do we improve this? So right now we are both more aligned than ever, because we're both like, we got to build this thing. Like we had some of our friends.
You got to have people doing the things, the low leverage items, the things that you can train somebody to. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to feel guilty about it, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's smart,
Oh no, it's hard. You can listen. There's no way I can do everything. So we're like, right now we have major growth going. We have headhunters looking for people. We're posting it out on social media. We've got job postings everywhere. We were just looking for people right now. Good people that are like, that have hustle, that can execute, that can grind it through the long hours. You know what I mean? It's all, we need those types of people. Because like with that, I think we can do just about anything. And it's like, it's so hard to find those people. Everybody's got excuses. Everybody says, oh, I got to do this.
Well, I'm going to help you, Pete. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice, if you don't mind.
Please.
This is something that's changed the game. See my shirt, control the future. What we say matters. And I found that I used to say that same thing. It's hard to find people. It's hard to find people. And my subconscious mind would do everything it can to justify what I was saying. And so I've been talking to people that are billionaires and people that have scaled businesses, and they're saying, C-Roc, watch what you say, watch what you think, because what you think, what you say is what you say, what you say is what you do, and what you do becomes your legacy. And so I catch myself. And then when I heard you say that,
it's easy to find people.
Yeah. And so, no, it's easy.
All right, I'm going to trace. That's why my goal was to remove the word try from my general language, because I don't like that word. So I said, I try to replace try with implement. Because it matters, you do, man, or you don't try. So I just want to implement this. I want to implement that. I don't want to try this or that. But to your point, if I keep saying it's hard to find people, and then it's if you believe you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's like, so if I think it's hard, it's going to be hard. But I'm going one step. I'm hiring people, because if I think it's hard, I'm going to just find somebody that specializes it and have he or she or they somebody who does it better than I do it. So that's what we've been doing lately. We've been hiring people to do it. Plus we've been hiring middle management to do it. And I think that's the best approach, because if it was hard for me, it's easier for some. So I'm just trying to find the people that that believe it's easy for them.
Set the vision, paint the vision to the team, the picture to the team, and say, hey, this is the expectation. Go find them. Or, and that's what's worked for us, and only the right people, but they're out there. They're out there, man.
Oh, they're definitely out there. And if they're there and they're watching, please connect.
Let's go.
TarekBuysHouses.com. Careers.
Hey, two final questions. One, Do you wish that you were on TV more instead of Tarek? Do you ever, and be honest with me, does it ever go through your mind like, shit, man, I wish I was that guy?
Well, yeah, you haven't seen, I've been on 9 episodes. I guess they were not very memorable, but no, it is
been
what
a
it
while
is.
since I
Like
watched.
it's something that I think it's kind of cool being on. You know, he's good. He's
Yeah.
got recognition around the world. So yeah, who won that? But there's two sides of it. He loses some privacy. You know, if he goes places, I mean, I've been with back in the day when they were married, you go to a hockey game, you got 30, 40 people trying to come up to them to see him, this and that. So you lose privacy from doing that. My wife didn't really want me to too involved in the beginning because we have younger kids. They're older now, but she was worried about that. I mean, there's a lot of, listen, I've dealt with a lot of crazy people over the years, man, seriously. A lot, and I'm not even on that much, but just dealing with some of the ramifications of being and dealing with that, it's not super great, but yeah, it's kind of cool. And being surrounded by it's kind of interesting because when you're in the bubble, you don't realize the extent. You know, Tarek sometimes says, hey, you got to remember, I'm on, you know, he says this is not like, we're not just a normal company. He's like, I'm a known brand. He's got millions of followers, you know, his fiance has millions of followers. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think, who knows? I mean, there's more seasons coming out. You might see me here and there, you know?
All right, let's go. I want to see you more. You know, I watched it back in the day with my wife. She forced me, and then I was forcing her to watch it. So, but I don't remember. It's been a while. I don't watch TV much anymore.
I mean, like I said, 9. I think they've done about 150, 160. I'm on 9 of them. So there you go.
Awesome.
You don't have a big chance. You have a small percentage, but every once in a while.
All right. Well,
What's the second question?
Before the final question here, what's the best way for people to reach out to you, engage with you if they want to work with you?
Sure. So like we have a few different websites, but the main one is Tarek Buys Houses. I can be found there. Should I go even to my email address? Just
or social media, whatever you want. Like,
on Instagram. I mean, that's one thing. I never was really big at growing that, but I'm actually now. So I'm Pete DeBest on Instagram. I've only got, I think, 2,800 followers. My goal is I actually thought about it. I said, I need to get up to like 50,000 followers somehow, some way. And that's going to take some thought. I just never put a lot of thought into it, but we're actually hiring some people for our company. So I'm going to learn from that. Literally starting in 2 weeks, we're going to do a lot more social media because I think that's the social currency is the new currency. So I definitely want to get out there more. And so you're going to hear about me more. That's part of my plan.
Let's go.
And email just pete@tarekbuyshouses.com. But again, if somebody just went to the website, they can find me that way. We've got lots of info forms or contact us. I could be there. And I'm on LinkedIn, Pete DeBest on LinkedIn. I have probably a lot more LinkedIn connections. So cool. There you go.
Great. And then final question is the rocket fuel question. So I have the rocket fuel rule, which I came up with after my dad threw a $100 bill at me when I was 11, said I was going to need it when I was living on the streets with my mom. And a spark happened at that moment and it never went out. And I've been living off of that spark, proving him wrong, showing everything that just like that came my way, man, stored in a tank. So if you can do that, and you eliminate all the things that stop or slow normal people down and convert it into fuel, you become unstoppable. What's that mean to you in your life going forward in the past, however you want to?
Well, I kind of alluded to that, man. I told you, I was literally cleaning the shit off the walls. I said crap before, but really it was, it was like just thinking about that moment in my life where I had nothing and I was cleaning toilets. And I said, that's like a big part of my fuel, man. I wanted to, plus just the sense of financial freedom, like, in theory, I might have been able, people always say, Pete, you could have retired a long time. It's all quality of life. So it keeps me going, that thought that I really don't ever want to have a situation where I'm ever in want for anything versus when I was younger, like I was in want for everything because I had nothing, but I knew I was willing to work as hard as I had to get it. And I will continue to work that hard. And I won't let anything stop me. I mean, I'm going to have obstacles, but I'm just going to blow through those obstacles.
Unstoppable. Yeah. I love it, Pete. Hey, you're my kind of guy, man. And I'm glad I got to meet you. And I look forward to having possibly Tarek on if he's willing to come on as well in the future. But thank you for being on, man.
You got it, man. I'll find him. He's around here somewhere, but yeah, I'll track him down and we'll get him on. And thanks, man. This has been awesome. And again, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Sounds good, man. You guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc and the unstoppable Pete DeBest. I put you in the club, man. You're in the club. So you guys, hey, go subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. If you like watching these, you can go to YouTube and look up Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco. Check them out, watch them, and go get the Rocket Fuel book. Until next time, be unstoppable.